with the Fraser Island dingoes, how did they get on the island? Because there's quite a bit of water. They didn't swim across, did they?
Oh, well, people have said that, but I mean, dingoes don't like swimming. I mean, what I've found with my dingoes, I've only got one that'll swim, the others, they always have to have their feet on the ground. They go waist deep with water, and that's about it. But you've got to look at it. Years ago, well, I suppose the bucks have been living on there, I think it's 4,000 to 5,000 years they've been living on the island. So we didn't have the ice age then, so 5,000 years ago the water was probably much the same what it is now. So how did they get across? Did they have a canoe or something?
Yeah.
And I reckon they probably would have taken dingoes over with them too. And then because the island is it's a locked-in landmass, the dingoes would have just bred above themselves. So, but when people ask me questions like that, I really can't give an honest answer because I wasn't there. None of us were there.
No.
So we can sort of make assumptions. But I look at this way, look, however they got there, they're there.
There.
And they are different to the mainland dingo. When I first got I've rescued a dingo from Fraser Island, Kira,
Yes.
and I've had her DNA'd and all the rest there, and I asked them, this was going back 5 years ago, in their DNA, could they tell whether it's a Fraser Island dingo or a mainland dingo? And the answer at that time was no. But now someone else has done some other testing, and they're saying that there is, I'll use the word marker, but there's something different in the Fraser Island dingo that shows up with the mainland dingo.
Yes.
I've seen scientific research was done in 1996, I think. Someone over there, whether they got scats or whatever, they did like 3 parts of the island. So from say Eurong down to Hook Point, which is say the lower third of the island, in that area they found there was, I think it was 16 to 19% of hybridisation,
Yes.
which meant that there was domestic dog in that bloodline. The further they went north on the island, the dingoes were more pure,
Yes.
and which then proves that, like, before Parks and Wildlife took over, when it was under forestry, when the island was being managed under forestry, a lot of people were coming and going, and they were bringing the domestic dogs. I've heard stories of people take over their cattle dog bitch and have it tied up to a tree, and hopefully a dingo would mate with it. There's a lot of folklore or talk about that sort of thing.
Well, in the days of logging, I've been over to Fraser Island.
Yep.
I've seen the dingoes
Yep.
running down the beach and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the early loggers may have had their domestic dog there.
Look, I reckon it has to be. I mean, the loggers live there for months and months at a time. They can only get over by barge, and it's different to barges we've got now. But I mean, even residents had their own dogs. I think there's still residents.
My wife was doing some research on the dingo on YouTube, and they said the dingo comes from Indonesia. Would that be correct, Simon? Or?
What it is, Professor Alan Wilton, who did all the DNA on my dingoes, he's since died of cancer. He and some colleagues had done all this research, and what they were doing, they were getting like some skeletons from, or even skins from New Guinea,
Yes.
Indonesia, Thailand, and all that sort of stuff. And they're trying to work out where the dingo came from originally.
Yes.
And in their research, they've worked out that they believe the dingo came from China about 18,300 years ago.
Gee, a long time ago.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So, but you look at, we had, the Ice Age began 26,000 years ago and finished 12,000 years ago. So if the dingo came here 18,000 years ago, so the water levels were still low, so the land, what do they call it, the land were all connected type of thing. So the land bridge, I think that's what they call it.
Yes.
Yeah, so they believe the dingo was probably moved with people from
Yes.
China and eventually arrived in Australia. But the DNA testing they were doing with the dingoes, the Australian dingo has a certain marker that all the other dingoes from Thailand, New Guinea or whatever, they don't have. So the dingo is unique to Australia.
Yes.
So we were told originally that, well, the story's been going for years, that the dingo arrived in Australia near Broome from the Southeast Asian seafarers on a canoe or a raft or something.
Yes.
And they always said it was just one pregnant female. And I thought, well, how do they know that? None of us were here. But, and who's to say more didn't come the next week or the next year? I mean, who knows? But they reckon that because of the land mass was connected, it's more likely probability that the dingo walked here. But then I've spoken to other people who've been involved with dingoes 50, 60 years, and they believe that the dingo is iconic to Australia as, say, like our kangaroos, wallabies, koalas, platypus, emus, all those animals that are unique to Australia, excuse me, and they believe the dingo was here. Now there's rock art in the Kimberleys, which you can only get to by helicopter.
Yes.
Don't know how the blackfellas walk up there.
Yeah.
But anyway, they've dated that back between 40 and 60,000 years ago, and there were dog-like figures on there. So that sort of lends to the idea of like, well, maybe they were already here.
Yes.
Now, if they were,
Yes.
I mean, in my position as owning dingoes, that's an awesome bit of research or scientific evidence. If the dingo's been here, 20 or 40,000 years, so in my mind, it's definitely got to be protected.
Yes.
I know people want to say that's endangered, but I think there's still enough wild dingoes out there to say that it's not endangered, but it's probably heading that way with all the poisoning.
Yes.
But yeah, so a lot of people, well, the general public don't really know where the dingo came from. So when I found out that maybe it's come from China, and you think, well, okay, 18,000 years ago, we think, okay, Christianity, 2,000 years ago.
Yes.
Chinese dynasties, 6,000 years. What's the Egyptians? How long ago was that? The pyramids, a few thousand years ago. So the dingo's been here heaps longer than all of that.
Yeah.
And then it's evolved through, I mean, Australia, as we know it now, is probably the flattest, driest, deadest continent in the world.
And they've survived all that time.
But I've read somewhere that, probably 20,000, 30,000 years ago, Alice Springs and stuff was like a rainforest.
Yeah.
You've got all those Palm Valley over there, got all these palm trees in there. There would have been more water out here, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I suppose, well, the dingo too, it had a bit more food to chase.
Yes.
But now when, 230 years ago, when, was it General MacArthur or whatever, he brought all the sheep over here, and then the farmers started digging dams to keep water, and so they had all these sheep, and then they had the cattle, and then the foxes and rabbits, so they started bringing all these new food sources, which the dingoes are thinking, well, this is all right, we don't have to work so hard now.
More food for us.
Yeah.
So, with a dingo, were they domesticated by the Aboriginals?
Not domesticated in the sense that we think it. They would have been a camp animal, or camp dog as they were saying,
Yes.
because the dingo comes and goes. It's got a mind of its own. You can't sort of say, yeah, it's like a dog. So the dingo you would hung around because, everyone's got a poo.
Yes.
So the dingoes would eat up the poo around the camp. Anything that the Aborigines didn't eat, there'd be a few skins and roo tail. There'd be stuff like that chucked around because they didn't have fridges and storage. So
Yeah.
what was left on the ground? The dingoes would have
Dingo
cleaned all that up.
Yeah.
As they moved on, the dingoes would have come with them, that would have nicked off and come back again. I've seen footage or photos of where Aboriginal women have breastfed dingo pups.
Yes.
That's an awesome bit of footage in Film Victoria, or whatever the records down there.
Yeah.
Also, I've seen footage where the Aboriginal would break the dingo's legs, so they wouldn't nick off. They'd carry them around everywhere. So they would have used them for warmth. They also used them for food. And even though we as Australians sort of think, eating a dog for food is horrendous, you've got to remember with Aborigines, whatever moved out there, if they killed it, they could cook it and eat it. It was just food.
Yeah.
I don't think they like the possums and the koala. They probably didn't taste too good. But if they got dingoes having pups, so the dingoes would have come and gone.
Yeah.
And so were they domesticated? I don't think domesticated is the word. Probably humanised or habituated, something like
Well, they
that.
got used to.
Yeah, so
humans.
they would just come and go. And if the dingoes think, well, if we hang around here, it's going to be easier for us to get food than it is out there trying to run down a couple of roos.
Yeah.
Do you think Fraser Island rangers are allowing the dingoes to live in their natural state?
Good question. Personally, my short answer is no. I know they say on their website and their mandate is that they want the dingo to live in its natural state, but when you look at all the things they're doing to it, from when they were originally hazing them, which was using a shanghai with a clay ball, hitting them that way, they've put up, I know they're fenced off the camping ground to protect the people, they would feel safer there, so they've put up electric fences everywhere. They've got cattle grids with electric wires going across the grids. They have also, they've been capturing the dingo, so they lay a trap in the ground, so they put like a bit of cat food or something in the sand, and in a circle around that are all these traps hidden under the sand, so the dingo gets caught in that. Then they're doing the air tagging, and then collaring. They did a collaring program a couple of years ago, which was a failure. Now the government have just given $60,000 to research for the University of Sunshine Coast to do more research on the dingoes. They're now going to collar more dingoes to find out where they're walking on the island. So to me, this whole thing is a hypocritical disaster. They say, the government and the rangers say they want the dingo to be left alone and to live in its natural state. How can that be true when they're allowing scientists to come in, trapping dingoes, interfering, collaring, ear tagging, and just imagine, they walk around with this collar, weighs about 500 grams. Some of them they give a GPS signal and some it's HF or whatever. So this thing is around the dingo's neck. So if the dingo weighs 15 kilograms and you've got half a kilogram weight around its neck, it's like saying a 70 kilogram person's got a 3 kilogram weight around, or a bag of sugar around the neck. It's very uncomfortable. Also, they've got antennas coming off which either side of their ears. These antennas give off a signal. An electronic engineer has done testing on that, saying that the frequency of the signal is affecting the dingo's hearing, so it affects its way to hunt. And also because these dingoes have got this collar on them, that other dingoes in their group, whether it be the female or the male, the partner or the kids of that family, suddenly, because that dingo looks different and it's got the smell of a human on it, they then push that dingo away.
Right.
So this dingo is not going to be accepted anywhere, and they've found through previous tests the male dingo just seems to be wandering all over the place. So whether because it's been ostracised by its group, it's trying to find another partner. So, but my answer is, well, why do they have to do this? We know the dingoes have lived there for thousands of years. Why do people have to interfere, put all these things on the dingo? It is preventing it from living its natural state. So, as far as I'm concerned, what Parks and Wildlife are doing to the dingoes is wrong. They're making hypocrite of themselves. We know the dingoes have been living there for thousands of years. Why do we need to know where they're walking, or they go to this territory? Why do we need to know that? Just leave them alone.
Yeah, that's right.